Oh, wow. I was in much quandary over this game, please.
Great word.
Burnley versus Wolves. Burnley obviously are going to be playing Southampton, so it's going to be very interesting to see any red cards, any injuries picked up. But playing home to Southampton, home to Wolves, they'll be looking to get at least 4 points. But Wolves are a plus 185. I mean, come on now. Wolves pick them at plus 100. Burnley a plus 160 to get the job done. Under over 2 goals. Yeah, I don't think you go near that because either Wolves win or it goes over. Team total for Wolves just set at half a goal. Burnley to score twice is, well, minus 240. The draw is at plus 215. Marco here, whatever Wolves play, you've got to be looking at a draw. But Wolves away at Burnley plus 185. I can see Wolves picking up all 3 points here.
Yeah, to me, it looks like the motivation factor might be a little bit kind of overused by the pricing here, because Burnley have only won 4 Premier League games all season. They're also plus 165 at home to Southampton on Thursday. Yet they're plus 160 at home to a more consistent and capable Wolves team, which just doesn't look quite right to me. I'd put Wolves rated higher than Southampton this season for sure. Now Burnley played pretty well against West Ham last week, but Nick Pope had to make some good saves. Maxwell Corning missed that penalty. It was quite costly, really. But yeah, I want to see more of them before I really commit into this match. And that Southampton game on Thursday night will give us more clues as to how they're going to set up after Dyche's departure, because we've said it a few times, but it's so hard to appreciate what goes on behind the scenes. So you only get these couple of glimpses when they play matches to see, were players totally wedded to Sean Dyche? Were they feeling a kind of sense of freedom now to express themselves? Since he's gone, it's impossible to know really without kind of seeing them in action. So I'm kind of happy to leave it alone, but I just can't kind of get my head around Burnley being favourites to win this match against Wolves, considering they've won 4 games all season. They've only scored 13 goals at home all season. They've lost 5 of 8 of late, including 3. Sorry, Wolves have lost 5 of 8 of late, including 3 of the last 4 on the road, which is obviously a slight concern. But they actually have got the 4th best away record in the Premier League this season. They've won half of their 16 away games, and they get Raul Jimenez back from suspension. So, yeah, I definitely favour Wolves off the pick-em right now, but not going to commit to anything until I see Burnley on Thursday.
Yeah, I don't blame you, but I just looked at it, Stinch, and went, my God, the prices are wrong. The prices are round the wrong way, surely. We're looking at a side that keep the ball against a side that go from back to front. And the one thing Wolves don't mind is aerial battles. They're happy. They've got proper centre-backs who just defend in straight lines and they clear their lines. They're not worried about like looking fancy. They actually go and defend. That's why they keep so many clean sheets, or they don't let in a hatful of goals.
Yeah, I mean, the goal line set at 2, and you know me, like I always try and look to try and take advantage of that, but not when you've got a side like Burnley involved. I think it's not worth the chance. Also, as Mark rightly points out, this is the second game without Sean Dyche. Sorry, the third game without Sean Dyche, but we've only seen 1 game so far. It's impossible for us to know really what the approach is going to be, having only got 1 game to go on. Are they going to be more attacking? I'm quite surprised that it doesn't seem as though they've had a plan in place for Sean Dyche's replacement. I would have fully expected them to have sacked him and then brought somebody in immediately. So I'm quite surprised by that. So yeah, just so many ifs and buts really. You're absolutely right. You can't be backing Burnley as favourites, how things stand now. But if we see them on Southampton and we see that once again they're a little bit more offensive in their approach, then maybe you can justify how the prices are. Mark's right to point out that Wolves have been on a poor run recently. So again, maybe they're meandering off onto the beach already. It's a really tricky one to pick the bones out. I think maybe if you're forced into a bet, the draw at plus 215, because the game says it's going to be very low scoring, so that brings in the 0-0 and the 1-1, doesn't it? So the draw at 215 when you've got under 2 at plus 120, I think is arguably the value. But that's just saying this is team A v team B and playing the numbers, and I think there's so many question marks, you can't just blindly back that.
Yeah, there's 2 ways here, and there's one of them that we hardly ever mentioned. We're in week 34. I cannot remember us really mentioning it maybe once or twice out of 34 shows. What about both teams to score? No. Also, The Wolves draw no bet looks like a free hit. I don't see Wolves getting beat here. So it's Wolves Pickham at plus 100. Now we've got Ponce de Leon, who's a Wolves fan, and he's saying that hopefully Raul and Podence will be back this week, although they have got a bad record against Burnley. Them two do give you a bit of structure. They give you a figurehead, and they give you a little bit of unpredictable ability, because Podence is one of those who could come up with anything. It's like a bag of spanners. You just don't know which one you're going to pull out. Okay, let's have a little look at the official. Yes, Stinch.
Just quickly, probably worth mentioning that Burnley are actually unbeaten in the last 6 against Wolves, so maybe the styles match up a bit more favourably in Burnley's favour.
Yeah, but again, at the moment, we think that they're going to go from back to front, because they've brought in the big lump, who's only a big lump, and I'm not having him. I just think Wolves are better than Burnley, and if Wolves get the ball down, they'll play round them. That doesn't mean they're going to win the game. I just think that both teams score no. Maybe the unders, which is a strange one, although you get a push with a 2-0 Wolves win. Official picks, because I've actually had to take my own medicine here and go Wolves draw no bet at plus 100. Although my first thing I wrote down was Wolves win the game at like plus 185, plus 190.